4th year. In fact, we're going. We're both going down to my daughter's birthday party. But what happened was that when I was going with my girlfriend, she lived not too far from where this lady lived. Her dad and mother had a store. And I would go up to their house. It was 3 girls. I'd go up to their house and sit and wait till somebody came home. And I'd get them to call my girlfriend and let her mama come over there. And then we'd all 4, it was she and her sister, two of the girls, we'd go places with her. So I'd known her since she was, about 15, I guess. Because my wife was pretty young.
And they're reconnecting.
Right.
Yeah.
Really did. And it's almost, and she was nothing to me back then, just somebody. She said, we were a nuisance. I said, yeah, you're a pretty big nuisance. But anyway, we got together over here, and it's like we didn't have that long link between us. And we hadn't seen each other. She said that she and her sister came to see me once over at I had an automobile body repair place over on 72. She said they came, but I don't remember it. But it all goes back to me quitting my job over at the service station.
Yes.
My brother writes a column in they call it the Oxford So-and-So. It's a book about so thick. It's about human nature, I guess, and things. And he's told him about me. He was in 23 years, my brother. But anyway, this guy wanted me to write all this stuff. Well, I'm not much on writing, so I never did.
So are you a member of the Veterans of Foreign Wars?
I was state command about 16, 18 years ago.
Which chapter is that? Is that Collierville or?
No, it's the whole state of Tennessee.
The state of Tennessee.
I had 33,000 something members. And I started out nothing. I joined, and Jimmy Dempster, the man that was owning the Ford place, and he wanted me, he was in VFW, and he wanted me to join. I was $2. And Jim, I hadn't got $2, so he paid my dues. And they put me doing just little old things. But they found out I'd work, so I did everything they told me to do, and about 2 years later, Dr. Kelsey lived over there. He was pretty big in it. So he said, we're going to let you commander tonight. I said, what are you talking about, man? He said, yeah. So he did. They did. They re-elected me the next year. And then I've stayed on. I guess I've been commander the last 30 years. I have been very active. I've been all over the country to national conventions and stuff like that. But I was elected state commander. It's been longer than that. 88 and 89.
What we're trying to do, because we have this study of Collierville during World War II, and we're trying to figure out where the people who enlisted from Collierville, where they served. And we have quite a few that we have found. We have been reading the Collierville Herald, and then there are stories and letters that parents and family members are posting in the newspaper. So we're trying to chart and see where everybody is.
Do you know who the first veteran was that was killed in World War II from Collierville?
No.
He was, now I guess, I don't know if they lived right here in town.
I think I saw an article about it, but I don't remember.
His name was Robert T. Jameson. That's the name of our VFW. He has 2 daughters. I think one of them lives in Arlington. I'm not sure where the other one lives, but they're around. And his widow married, I can't think of his name, Grace something. Anyway, she passed away a few years ago. And Chester Webb, have you heard his name?
Chester Webb? I think so.
He's having a little dementia problems. We've lost so many. I've lost so many of my VFW members.
I think we called Mr. Webb to interview,
Yes.
and that's the one that said that he was having problems.
Yes, so he was not really up to it. But Mr. Shepherd,
Tommy Shepherd. I know him. He bought me a Great Generation book.
Tom Brokaw.
Tom Brokaw. Two people that bought me books.
So when you moved to Collierville in 1947, where did you live then?
That'd be a good one for you. You may not have seen it. Are you familiar with the hotel that was down on Square? No.
I'm not, but I've heard of it, but I would like to hear about it.
Well, Ray Fortune, the man that owned Joe's Drive-In, who was Mr. Looney's son-in-law, Ray and his buddy bought the old hotel. And
was it on the square?
it was between on the east side of the square.
So,
Where's the railroad?
railroad is here.
Okay,
And here's the square.
okay.
Here's Washington.
Okay. And this is railroad?
Is that Railroad Street?
No,
No, I cannot
Oh.
find Railroad Street.
I didn't know we had one.
Yep.
Anyway, the square ended, is this the east right here?
Yes.
The square ended, and then this big old hotel was right there between the square and the railroad.
Oh, okay.
My wife and I spent 2-3 nights there when we got married. There's one bathroom for the whole thing, all down the hall. That was,
So this is a map of 1940, so that should be it then.
yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah.
And oh yeah, and they named it the Rayburn Hotel because his name was Ray and the other guy named Bernie.
Oh, okay.
And that was the name of it.
So
Now, he didn't build it, it was already there.
and then after that honeymoon, where did you live?
We moved in, it was a lady and her husband lived at the corner of South Rolette, at the corner of Mills.
Where is Mills? I cannot find Mills.
Mills?
I've been looking, oh, there it is. So yeah, here. So Mills and South, you said?
That's south. Where's South Rolette? Maybe that may be the same thing. Anyway, Mills goes right up to the railroad.
Okay.
And it was Mills this way and South Rolette this way.
South.
And we lived on the southwest corner of Mills and Rolette. And in part of their house. Then one time we lived up at, that was when I was in the Korean War. We lived on Mills and...
Did you serve in the Korean War too?
No,
Okay.
I spent 2 years out there, but I never go anywhere. They sent me out to Texas one time to inspect a big wrecker that's putting an engine in it, and they sent me out there for a couple of weeks. Other than that, I was in Memphis. No, I didn't go to Korea. But we moved up here where they're building all these houses in Ms. Park's place. There's a real small house up at the end of the street. We lived there for a while, and then I got a GI loan, and we had a house built on Hope Street, which is down Sycamore to the left. It's not very, there's about 3 houses on the street on each side. And then Pete Kozlowski, you've heard of him? Kozlowski? No? No. Anyway, he was in the real estate business. And he was big in the VFW. We were riding around one day and drove down White Road, and I lived, at that time, it was a big ditch goes down, which goes down through here. And as far as you could go. And he looked out there and he said, Mickey, I got 2 lots out there. I can't sell, give away, I can't do nothing. I don't know what I'm gonna do with them. I said, tell you what, I trade even with you from equity in my house. He said, okay. We came up to his office, he filled out the papers, and I owned the lots. He gave me a copy of a blueprint to build it. And you got Roy Watkins, you wouldn't know him, but he was a builder. He built my house, and I was going to have a septic tank, and I didn't have $500 to build it. That was back in the 60s. Mm-hmm. So I went up to see Herman Wright. Now I know you've heard of Herman Wright.
Yes.
Cox.
Yes.
Okay. I said, Herman Wright, what am I going to do?
The mayor.
I don't have a septic. I don't have money to buy a septic tank. I said, and you got something to get over the hill there? He said, no. I said, we don't have a way of getting the sewage up. It's a little rise. I said, well, when I first came to Collierville, down here off of Poplar, somebody told me there's one out there in the field somewhere. Been there a long time. He said, yeah, there's one down there. So I went to see Mr. House, I think. Anyway, whoever was over there. He said, yeah, we got a new one, a pump thing. So I want to see Herman Wright again. I said, Herman Wright, I found the thing for you. He said, well, we don't have no place to put it. I said, you do now. Come down and put it at the edge of my property right at White Road. And that's what they did. And I had sewage. And when I was having a house built, they got the framing up, and I went down there one Monday morning, and there was a sign on it that said, stop work. You have to have 5 acres in the county to build a house. I found out I was in the county instead of Collierville. Go back to Herman Wright. And I said, well, what do I need to do?
You were outside the city limit?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I didn't know it. I said, what am I going to do? He said, well, you need to be in the city. I said, well, how do I get in the city? He said, well, get some of the people around you to sign the thing, you know. I said, nobody down there but me. He said, well, get somebody to sign it. That's his words. So I got some people to sign. Went back up there. He picked the phone up and he called 2 or 3 aldermen. He said, well, you're in the city.
So they incorporated your law?
Yeah. Yeah. That's the way he did business. I mean, it all happened just that quick.
Yeah. Well, Collierville didn't grow until 1951, outside of that square, and then they just added and added and added.
And
that's how it went.
People that lived here a long time, they had a fit when they started about extending city limits.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I know a lot of them. One man lived right down Poplar.
They wanted it to stay small?
Wanted to keep it just like it is, like it was. No.
You know, in 1940, there are 1,017 people who lived there.
Well, in
Collierville.
47, there wasn't a whole lot more than that.
It's not growing. 1950 is the same number of people. It doesn't grow until the big growth is in the 70s. But it's, so I have 63 students, and they are focusing on learning about just that small town.
Have you talked, well, John Leake's gone. He claims that he's related to whoever donated the land for the square. There's been a squabble about that over the years.
Yes, yes. I was teaching one of the Leakey girls, and she did her history project on the history of her family.
Oh.
So I learned a lot about that. But what I think that we are really excited about is that Collierville has so many people who enlisted, right? And they are really participating in all different theaters. They're everywhere. Out of that small population.
That's right.
Yeah.
You're right. They sure are.
And we found so much support for the war with the volunteer work.
We had a great auxiliary in our VFW. They had to give it up because they were getting way up and a lot older than I am. I was. And they were volunteer. They did let for everything over the whole city. They just